Hey guys, it's Sarah Reynolds, your favorite Progressive Patriot, and welcome to Day 17 in our series, A Year in the Life of the Progressive Patriot. And I'm dressed up because I went to a really fun event tonight downtown St. Paul. There was a wine tasting and some other fun stuff. So I was super excited about that because the beauty of this whole A Year in the Life of the Progressive Patriot thing is that I get to catalog that I am actually doing other things besides just completely focusing on the Bill of Rights and making sure that we don't lose all of our freedoms. Last year in 2013, I was so obsessed with Gitmo and so concerned about due process and the Fourth Amendment violations that were revealed by Edward Snowden and all the NSA documents that I became so focused on blogging and tweeting that I really let the other part of my life kind of go to the wayside. So part of my New Year's resolution for 2014 was that I would make sure that at least once a week I was doing something super fun and awesome. So I have been pretty much doing that for the whole year, and I'm happy to say, June is almost over, almost halfway through the year, and I've been consistently keeping up with that. So I was very glad that I did that today, and that's why I'm dressed up. So we're talking about Iraq. What's going on? Well, the headline was U.S. military team heads for Iraq. So the president is sending over not combat troops, which Americans are overwhelmingly opposed to, according to the polls, but troops to protect our interest, to protect our embassy, and it's a very devastating situation where you have the leader of Iraq literally begging the United States to help, to come back, when they definitely were sick and tired of us by the time we withdrew all troops in 2011. So I'm very concerned, I have to say. There are multiple viewpoints that I researched this evening when I went online, and I looked at Bill Moyers. I found some interesting information from Ron Paul, also some interesting information from Julie Lenars. She is interesting, clearly for intervention and maybe more hawkish than she comes off as, but she is affiliated with an organization whose tagline is, "Intervention has consequences, but so does not intervening." And that is so true. Now, she made an interesting point, and it was this, that the 2003 invasion, she says, which I completely disagree with this part, the 2003 invasion in Iraq is not causing this ISIS takeover of northern Iraq. It's the not intervening in Syria that caused it, that allowed them to grow. Interesting. I did not think of that. Of course, Ron Paul's completely the opposite, and more the leaning to the left or progressive or non-interventionist, classic old school constitutional republic, the founders, stay out of the entanglements of other countries, that kind of view. And I gotta say, I really appreciate Ron Paul's views on foreign policy. They almost always dovetail with Ralph Nader. So I always look to them on foreign policy views to see what they're thinking about current events. And the thing that he was saying is the 2003 invasion was a huge mistake, and now this would be another huge mistake to send troops back. And Bill Moyers had compared and contrasted in his article, he compared President Obama to JFK, making the decision whether or not to send more troops to Vietnam. So that was a very interesting article. And of course, the general consensus is these people have big, huge problems. They've got cultural and regional differences that go back centuries. The United States just may not be able to be the one to fix it in this situation. One thing or solution that I had thought of was, but this was back years ago, I don't know if this is actually even feasible at this point because Al-Qaeda and ISIS have such a stranglehold, and ISIS does horrific things like public executions with crucifixions. And I really believe that at some point we want to completely economically isolate them, so no more oil transactions at all, go completely off oil here in the United States, do everything electric, and use up our domestic oil, Texas, Alaska, and then be done with it. Just be done with oil. That's my opinion. So that seems to be a very effective way, economically isolating a country seems to be a very effective way to bring people to the table to talk, to actually negotiate, to actually have diplomacy and have a back and forth dialogue. So that would be one way of doing it. And this story continues to develop. So I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night. All right, thank you so much for tuning in.